It was late when you had finally left the school library. You had spent all of your time trying to study, and the sky had already started turning into its celebrated orange as you slowly made your way back home alone. The school was for the most part empty, but the sound of footsteps echoing down the hall had caught your attention. Reaching the shoe lookers, your breath hitched when you noticed that Todoroki was there in the midst of changing his shoes. He turned his head once he noticed you were there, and your eyes met with his again. What do you say at a time like this? You didn't know, but fortunately, Todoroki was the one who spoke first. LN. Huh? You jumped up in surprise, not expecting him to talk first. You also didn't expect him to remember what your name was. That's your name, right? Yeah, but you can call me YN, if you want. He tilted his head curiously at you. Your first name? We're not that familiar with each other yet, though. Yeah, I suppose you're right. You agreed too quickly. You two were soulmates, but of course, you couldn't move that fast yet. You didn't even know he wanted to accept you as his soulmate. You watched as he changed his shoes and closed his locker. Turning his back, he started to make his way towards the exit, and you continued to stare. Then he paused midway and turned his head halfway towards you. You're leaving, right? Let's walk together. You blinked twice, surprised that he had invited you to walk with him. You could barely react before your feet had started to move in their own accord. Before you knew it, you were right by his side, about 3 feet away from your own soulmate. Your heart was beating so loud, and you were trying to calm yourself so in a sense that you were nervous. The walk was in complete silence as he tried to gauge his emotions the entire way. You had closed them off completely, which left you wondering what he was feeling at the moment. A single red leaf then distracted you as it fell in your vision. Everything had cleared from your mind as you took in the scene of early fall. The leaves had started to turn shades of orange and red recently, and you marveled in its beauty. Although it was silent, there was something quite relaxing and peaceful about it. And, as you glanced back at him, all of that nervous you had felt before had melted away completely, as you took note of how the autumn leaves matched his red hair perfectly. Todoroki said nothing, but he was caught off guard seeing your peaceful and relaxed smile towards him. You were so nervous before, which made him feel bad because he thought he had a scary presence. But from the day he had met you, all of the emotions you felt had hit him constantly like a ton of bricks, and you were really bad at hiding your emotions. And he wanted to figure you out. How could you have so many emotions? How could they change so quickly in the blink of an eye? And what was it about him that made you smile with such content? Unaware of his inner turmoil, you continued to walk by his side in silence until it was time for you both to part. You waved goodbye to him as you walked onto your train, and he did a small wave back. Once the door shut, you couldn't help but smile and flush like a schoolgirl in love. Your emotions were exploding in happiness, and unlovingly to you, you could feel all of that, even as you were sent off into the distance. He wasn't sure why you would react like that, but you definitely did confuse him. Ever since that day, it became a routine for the two of you to walk home together. Class 1A liked to stay behind and trail a little before the school closed, and you liked to stay behind and read. With that, it was convenient with your schedules, and you always found each other at the end of the day in the same spot. The walks back were always quiet. You were always nervous about talking to him, because you were worried about saying something stupid. Then, you eventually figured out that he wasn't really the most vocal person in the world. With your shyness and his aloofness, the walks would be filled with silence. But it wasn't a bad silence, as it usually turned out. You found yourself enjoying them anyways. Just the fact that he was there made you feel the least bit comforted. Even though you weren't sure what he was feeling since you always closed off his emotions, you figured that he didn't hate you. And the fact that he kept walking with you made you feel like there was still some chance. But then one day, he decided to walk home with his friends from Mane. He really did feel a change in his emotions this time. He felt more light, more content as a person. Your heart couldn't help but ache as you watched his slight smile while he talked to his friends. You were happy for him, yes, but you wondered, would he ever smile at you like that? Todoroki suddenly paused in his steps, and you quickly hid behind the tree once you noticed that he was about to turn his head to look at you. Tarikan, what's wrong? Midoriya asked. Is there something there? There was a quiet pause before he replied to his friend. No, it's nothing. With that, you heard their footsteps fade away. Tears started to form in your eyes, and you couldn't help but feel frustrated. Why were you such a coward? Why weren't you able to walk up and introduce yourself to his friends? To be completely honest, you were scared. You weren't sure if he even wanted you a part of his life, since he hasn't mentioned about you two being soulmates once. Well, that was just you making excuses. In truth, you really did not feel like you could ever fall for someone like you. Letting out a big sigh, you walked home that day, feeling dejected over your lack of confidence. Hey guys, thank you all for listening, and this is part 2 out of 6 of Emotions, which was written by Shotodoki. I'll leave her link in the description. She's really amazing. Part 3 will be coming out soon, so don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. Goodbye!